Kenny Frease, former Xavier Musketeer legend. As we gotta size him up here, Stone. We're doing some live producing. Kenny, thank you so much. The Roll Blob podcast. I got that right? The Roll Blob. Yeah, absolutely. And you see all the Xavier stuff in the background. Before we get into this interview, I sent you this picture earlier. A few years ago, I found myself in Kansas City at the College Basketball Hall of Fame. And who did I see in the College Basketball Hall of Fame? Stone? Got that picture ready? Got that picture ready?
Yeah.
Look at this. At one of the activations, Kenny Frease. So technically, Kenny, you are in the College Basketball Hall of Fame. I didn't know if you knew that existed, that poster of you up there.
I did not know it existed, and that's the closest I'll ever get. I promise you that much.
It was a delight to see our favorite there, Kenny Frease. Kenny, tomorrow's the Crosstown Shootout. You obviously played in this. Some memories. Won a lot of games. Won a lot in the Crosstown Shootout. I just asked Rick what his favorite memory, and he's been covering Xavier for a long time. Is there one memory that sticks out as your favorite? And it doesn't have to be the brawl. It could be, what was your favorite memory from the Crosstown Shootout in your playing days?
I mean, honestly, when I look back to the brawl, it's fun to think about it just because it was such a huge moment in the school's history for sure. But then also with, I would say my favorite memory, though, is the first game that we played at UC my freshman year. The level of intensity that goes into that game. And, I think there was like 7 technical fouls. It was a very chippy game like it always is. But I think just that first memory of walking onto the court and really getting to experience it the first time as a player is probably top for me.
Yeah. I just asked Rick this question, and I'd be interested to ask you this. There's been a lot to do. The article comes out every year of has the game lost its luster, has the rivalry lost its the bit, and he put out a really good point saying it'll always mean something in the arena. It always means something. As the college basketball is evolving, these guys aren't sticking around in one program for 4 years like you did, like Zach Fremantle just did for Xavier. Guys come and go year after year. Yeah. There's going to be turnover. Do you think that the changing landscape of college basketball is affecting rivalries and more specifically this rivalry?
I think that there's definitely some issues with NIL rev sharing and all of the turnover of players affecting rivalries. But, at the end of the day, it comes down to coaches, fans, universities really driving those points home, because at the end of the day, this rivalry is going to mean everything to the fans on both sides. And I know that UC likes to say it's just another game on their schedule, but I mean, it's easy to say that when you've lost as much as they have in the last 25 years. So, I like at the end of the day, it's a big game, and anybody that says otherwise, from a fan perspective, is lying. Xavier or UC, because I hear Xavier fans say the same thing sometimes. And I think that it's just absolutely ridiculous. But I think it comes down to players and coaches and, like I said, the universities just really driving home that point, because it's a big game to the people in the city. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the Muskies in particular. They have played significantly better over the last few weeks. I think after those back-to-back near 20-point losses, the second one being to Iowa, you're sitting around looking, what kind of a year is this going to be here in Cincinnati for Xavier? But they've got some confidence. They're playing better. What have you noticed has been the biggest change in the way they've played over the last few weeks?
Well, I mean, the first thing is the way that they've been moving the ball. We talked about it a lot on our podcast. In the first 4 or 5 games, the ball was just going to one side of the court and stopping. And they were trying to play one-on-one and I think that that's just a product of all of these guys being brand new with each other, new coach, new system, all those different things. But I think the biggest thing is you start to see they're moving the ball more. It was, I think, in the Old Dominion game, they came, I think it was 12 minutes to go in the second half was their first unassisted bucket. I could be wrong on that. And I know that Old Dominion, they're not world beaters, nothing like that, but just to see the guys come together. And I think that game, 29 of 33 of their buckets were assisted, which, to see a group of guys that hasn't really played together come together like that after what was Iowa's not a bad loss. And to be honest with you, Santa Clara is not a bad loss. They're a really good team. But the perception of that game was, from what I was hearing, this is the worst loss we've ever had in Cintas Center. And then you follow it up with Iowa, where they had 5 or 10 good minutes where they hung with Iowa, and then Iowa just kind of pulled away. So I think that you've seen progression through the season, and obviously the way that they shoot the ball with Joe and All and Trey and Rody, and Philip Borovichinen is he's a stat stuffer. It seems like he has a chance for a triple double every game when he's playing it within himself. So, I think that that's really just been what it is. They've been defining roles as the season's gone on. And, I really think that this is obviously a big game, and it's going to test a lot of what they've been trying to implement over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Confidence is so important in any sport. Any sport, especially these big rivals. And you can even pay into a little more of that when you're a team like Xavier, they're going to chuck up threes, right? They're going to shoot a lot from behind the arc. How important, as someone who played, and I know you didn't shoot a whole lot from behind the arc, but as a team atmosphere, how important is it to knock down a couple shots early to kind of feed off that confidence?
Well, we had Paul Frischner on our podcast last night, and he was talking about this. Like, he really feels like this game is going to be decided in the first 8 minutes, and I don't necessarily disagree with him. I think in a rivalry like this, it's hard for either team to lay down and just let it go. Even if they come out and go on a 14-0 run on either side in like the first 8 minutes, and you see a score of like 14-3 or something. So I don't necessarily believe that would be the end of the game, but I understand his point in that, like you said, if Xavier comes out and they, All Right comes out and hits a big 3 to start the game, and Joe hits a couple threes, like, I think that there's just like you said, that level of confidence that you get from having this crowd at your back. And really, it's going to be the first time that any of these players have seen the Cintas Center the way that I remember the Cintas Center.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that they're going to have it's going to be a fun game for all of them, and I just hope that they're all ready for it.
I don't know how much you know about UC. I don't know how many times you've watched them this year. They got a talented roster. They got a lot of length. Does that length scare you at all, especially with the way that Xavier has been faceting their play over the last few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that if we had to post up every single time down the court, and on offense and then on defense we had to guard it in the post every time down the court, I don't think Xavier wins that game. But I think that one of the things that Xavier does really well with their big guys in Trey and Joe, who aren't obviously traditional centers by any stretch of the imagination, but they put bigger defenders, post defenders, in situations that they may not always be in. Like they'll run ball screens where you're going to have a 4-man that's actually guarding the ball on a ball screen. I think that that's something that makes those guys uncomfortable. Not UC specifically, but just in general with the teams that they're playing. I feel like they put guys in situations that they haven't been in before, and it makes it more difficult. And I think you can see that when Jovan's getting up nine threes in a game. He's not taking bad shots. He's open because those guys just aren't used to having to close out on guys like that. And I mean, that's just my perspective, and maybe I could be wrong, but that's what I see. And Trey does the same thing. So I think it's just a different dynamic with Xavier's big guys. They bring you something that others may not.
I know the Roadblock podcast goes live at Dana's after each game. Are you down? Do you come down every game?
No, I don't come down every game. I run it. I have my little base station here, but I will be at the game on Friday.
You're coming on down. So live post game from Dana's after the game, win or lose?
Unfortunately.
Oh no.
So Dana's the Crosstown Shootout. Dana's tends to get a little crazy afterwards, so we're having to pivot. We're doing something from the arena after the game. It'll be about a half hour after the game's over, media rights and all that stuff. Sure. But we're gonna do something from the arena. But then there's a few different players that will be coming in, guys that I played with. So there will be a reaction at Dana's. It just won't be taped.
All right. If you could lace them up tomorrow, what would be your stat line?
Oh man, in my current state,
Current
you'd probably
state.
I could probably give you about 5 minutes, 3 or 4 fouls.
5 minutes, 3 or 4 fouls, maybe a block, maybe a board or two.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, you never know. But the fouls I can give you for sure.
You dare Baba Miller to come meet you at the rim.
Right.
Kenny,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us here. Have fun tomorrow
No
at the
problem.
game. Looking forward to that post-game show out at Cintas after the game. Roll Blob Podcast. Kenny Frease, Xavier legend, and he is in the College Basketball Hall of Fame. He's in the halls.
Yes.
There is a picture of him. I've seen it myself. Put that on the
Right.
resume and brush it up. There it is. One more time. Kenny, thank you so much.
I appreciate you, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, we'll have you on sometime soon.